got old timers.
Old timers.
We figured I've got a bad case of dimensions.
There you go. Good day, welcome to Suffolk Round.
Skazz, yes.
Welcome to episode 242 of the Rand 43. Sorry. Welcome to 243 of the Randos podcast.
Oh my god, is it 243?
For free, yes, for free. It's free, it is, yeah.
Is it really that episode, Ram?
Yeah, it is. Is that
Isn't
that episode? It's that one.
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah.
You know, my levels are terrible. I just screamed at it. I'm sorry. Is it?
It is. It is indeed.
Oh my gods.
Well, there you go. I'm
so excited.
I'm hoping that I'd say that the audio, after the last one, I had, we were talking about pre-podcast. We were talking about random things causing issues, random services. And I know it said it's on the one we recorded. It said it was like behaving itself. Everything seemed fine. It turns out it wasn't behaving itself. So when I got your audio, I put into into DaVinci with my audio.
Yeah.
Our first sync clap lined both up fine. Our end of podcast sync clap 7 seconds out.
Oh,
indeed. And I thought, So I play the audio, and yes, our audio drifted by 7 seconds.
How? Oh yeah, because your machine had been overloaded.
Yeah, so looks like it overloaded, and Audition just stopped recording briefly every now and again.
Wow.
Because there's one part. I was trying to work out what happened, and so because it was
are you sure it was you that was off?
Yes, I think it is. I think that service that was causing me problems last time I was causing issues this time as well, because I started trying to work out. I thought, how am I going to fix this? This is a pain. So I just started listening to the audio. The audio is like in sync. Okay, first 5 minutes is in sync. Next time it's also in sync. Okay, this is a bit weird. It's not like drifting off slowly. It's drifting off like in a big chunk. And eventually I come to a bit of audio where I literally, if you zoom on the waveform, it's like a solid straight. It's like it's been cut in half. It's like it goes from like nothing to sound. There's no like build up to it. The waveform is not a wave, it's a cliff. And when you listen to it, you can hear. And because what I then did, is I downloaded the audio from the YouTube stream, lined that up, and there are bits where I was speaking and it's coming through to YouTube, but wasn't recorded by Audition.
Wow.
So it must have bottlenecked it, and Audition just stopped briefly for a few seconds, and that was 3 seconds worth by itself.
You've checked today, and you're good.
Yeah, as far as where things seems fine.
All right.
So,
because I started when you said there was a problem, the audio was bad, and I'm like, don't say that, Ram, because I was sat on like a 120 quid PC that day. I was like, please don't tell me it was my machine, because that one's often
yours. I mean, yours was slow. It's obviously drifted slightly compared to YouTube, because there's always a drift difference.
Yeah,
but it was like minimal. In the sense that you could hear, when you get sort of like, you can hear that slight echo when you're speaking, type minimal. Whereas my audio was, the YouTube audio was fine. It was like followed on. So when we were talking to each other, it's all lined up. But my actual recording just dropped 7 seconds worth of sound. That was exciting.
Mate,
I thought thinking, what the fuck has happened? I mean, because I know you're going to get slightly out of sync. Because you always are, because your clocks are that sort of thing. But it's like, that was exceptionally out of sync.
Yeah.
So
I don't think I've had to deal with anything like that in ages.
No.
I would have lost even more hair at that point.
that was a perfect end. That was a perfect end to the end of a very stressful Sunday, because I moved my PC. My PC's moved, so people who watch the footage on the stream will see that I'm in a new place. My PC's not where it used to be. It's been moved from the outside office into my house. So which is quite good actually in some ways. But I do have an issue when I load it, because I use a networked file server, and I have my editing stuff on the file server. So if I want, I can connect to it separately. I can connect to it at different places.
Yeah.
Move the PC. And everything fine, moved it. All your network drives disappeared. So, okay, I'll just re-add them. I thought, I'll just re-add them, okay. Can't re-add them. Can't even see my file server on the network place. It just isn't there. Okay. So, go think to myself, okay, that's a bit weird.
Wait, because prior you were in the same room as the server.
So
correct?
here's how
On the
much.
same hub, switch, whatever.
So this is how much structure. We have a router.
Mm.
The router has one Ethernet cable that goes off to the outside office that had a switch. And my file server, my PC, and my printer were on that switch.
We're all on that.
Another cable comes off that router and goes to the access point in my house, which is what my main PC is now connected to.
Yeah.
But but here's where it gets a bit weird. I could see the printer and connect to the printer, but not to the file server. So, this is a bit weird. Because I thought, because I go check, make sure the PC, the computer's running. I haven't switched off when I've like disconnected everything, and make sure it's all plugged in still. So it's there, it's running, it's connected. This is weird. So I then go to check my access point, and I look at all the connected devices connected, and anything that it should be connected to is connected to it. Go check the main router, look at the list of devices, and the file server sits there on the main router saying it's connected to the main router.
Yeah.
Through the switch, because it all shows the same port number, because obviously the port number is like number 4, and then it shows the printer and everything that's connected to that switch has all got physical port number 4, not computer port number 4. So, that's weird. So I try everything I can to like reconnect, and because this PC's got no monitor on it, no keyboard, mouse, I can't even remote into it. So okay, this is strange. Okay, then I think to myself, right, after sort of faffing around a little bit of time doing that, I think to myself, right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to physically get that PC and bring it in here and plug it into my access point. Because they were before on the same switch, they should work on the same access point in theory. So I bring it in, I managed to rustle up a DVI to HDMI cable to plug it into my television. So I was able to use TV as a monitor, and I was able to find a spare USB mouse and keyboard so I could at least see what it was doing. Because before I couldn't see what it was doing because I couldn't remote into it or anything. So I put on the access point, fine, okay. Go to the access point shows it's there. I can't connect to it. Can't signal it. I think, what's going on? And then it dawns on me. And it's something that I hadn't realised. So that PC, obviously, for a file server, I've it set with a static IP. So if there's a power cut, I don't have to remap all the drives again.
Yeah.
Simple. So that was like with a connect. That was like the usual 192.168.0. whatever static IP. I look at the router. Our router, all the devices connected to the router have an IP of 192.179.0. something. So, that number's different. So I go into what I do is on the file server, I disable the static IP. I switch that off completely. So right, you're going to get associated with an IP by yourself. I'm not going to touch you.
Yeah.
Okay. All seems hunky-dory fine. It shows connected to the network on the PC. So, oh, good. I'm going to take it back to the office. I should have tried connecting to it first before I moved back to the office, but I didn't. Move back to the office. Go check on the router. That's the main router. Switch. PC's now got an IP address. Lovely. Try remote desktop. I can remote into it. Lovely. Try mapping the network drive. You can't do that. I can't find this PC. So, right, okay. So I literally, with the remote desktop open, I copy the network address off the PC and paste it on my PC. I've got the 2 monitors. I've got one piece rotated into this PC on one monitor and my sort of network on another, and paste it across. It's like, that is the address. Can't find it. Right, okay. So I thought, right, I wonder now if it's because the IP is no longer static and it's having issues. So I remote back in. This time I set it with a static IP. Again, with the new naming scheme. Obviously, that disconnects from the PC, then has to reset itself, and that disconnects remote session. But I was able to remote back in using the new static IP, which was good. Try to map the network drive again. Type in the IP address instead of the actual network. Sorry, I try the network name again. Doesn't like it. But I try with the IP / the drive. Bing, connected. Boom. So it's because it didn't have a static IP again, and because was connected to a switch, I couldn't connect to it by its name. I had to connect to it by IP. But I did that, and I was connect. And after all that, after spending ages doing that, I was able to get a connection. I was like, good. Now DaVinci can see its editing drive. It can see it. It can connect to it. It can talk to it. Grand. Oh, by the way, your audio's out by 7 seconds. It's like, for fuck's sake. At that point,
always goddamn something.
otherwise, so I saw that. I thought, fuck it. I closed down DaVinci and went and had a beer.
Yep. Sounds about right.
Yeah,
Sounds about right.
that was my Sunday.
It's always something, mate. It's always something. I've had that happen. I've been sat right next door to servers and they've gone, no, you can't connect. So it's right there. Yeah, but you can't connect.
Yeah.
Do you want to use the domain name for it? You can't connect. IP address? Oh yeah, there it is. So can I use the domain now? No. Why? Because you can't.
Reasons.
But it's there though.
I don't.
Yeah, we know, but you can't connect to it.
I don't like the name you picked.
It's like I want it to have this. It's like,
No, I don't like it. Well, go on. Just connect to it. No, I don't like it.
I don't want you to connect to it. I don't want to work today, okay? I want a holiday. It's like, this is your one job.
Yeah.
You're a file server. Yeah, but I want to be an ice cream machine. It's like, you're a fucking file server. Just do as you're told.
Surely the ultimate joy for a PC is when it's not being a file server, just to be a heater.
Nah, but see, that's the thing. So it wants to do something different.
I suppose you could you use the fans to whip the ice cream, maybe?
Mate, given the state of my PC, I don't know if I'd like that.
I'm now going to buy a load of PC fans, bring them all together, and bring them together, and just see if I can make some cream or something with it.
Gamer cream. That sounds so wrong.
Oh no! Why did you say that? Oh no! No one wants the gamer cream. Oh, think how sweaty it'd be.
Yummy.
Oh,
if it's from a gamer's PC, then I mean,
sweaty
does the tub come with RGB?
Sweaty and tastes like Watsits.
Fucking RGB ice cream tub full of dust. fucking Watsits.
The actual cream itself would be RGB. You could customize it in the settings.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Blue screens as you try and eat it.
Yeah, it just disappears. What the?
Hey, what the fuck? Oh yeah, kernel panic, mate. What? Have you installed the update?
Yeah, unfortunately, that ice cream was dynamic ice cream, not static, not hard.
So it's gone over there now.
It's dynamic. So once you lost power to it, it just disappeared.
So, mate.
You should have stored it in the hard drive like all good ice cream.
So, but mate, I wanted that. Now too late.
Too late. You can only eat the ice cream once it's got power running to it. You get a couple seconds with the capacitors when you disconnect it, but that's about it.
Oh. Gamer cream sucks.
Gamer cream. That is just such a wrong state. I feel dirty now hearing that state. I just feel it's wrong.
I'm sure you do.
Oh. Let's put that in the show notes.
I was going to say, is that gone next to the sock? Full of gamer cream. Hey, what do you know? An ice cream fan. Woo!
I also discussed gamer cream. Oh dear.
Delicious.
Oh, so how have you been, Skazz?
I have been alive. My hair is thinning out faster every day. Everything is boring. Everything is broken. Hardware sucks, McDick. Oh, because I'm back on my PC. Woo! I haven't used this in a while. It's not happy.
Oh, bless it. It's not happy.
Yeah, because it's been fucking replaced by like a cheapy 120 quid, 140 quid Chinese computer. I was like, what about me?
Aren't all computers Chinese computers?
Well, technically, in the grand scheme of things, yes. But this one was actually Chinese company manufactured in China.
Oh right, so so they know exactly what you're doing then with it?
Of course they do.
Yeah, good.
I'm starting to debate which one's less evil, China or Microsoft. The People's Democratic Republic of Microsoft.
Oh, one's a communist state with which causes abject terror and horrific to the people who live and work there,
That's
and with a I was gonna say one source cause actually who will ever work there, despot leader, and the other's China. So
yeah, that's it. The other one's China.
yeah,
true.
they watch everything you do, and they call it telematic. Was it telematics?
Telemetry.
We're just watching your telemetry. What are you saying? Telemetry? Everything.
It's like, yeah, do you want to be part of the old typing recognition program? No. Well, we're
Yeah.
going to monitor you anyway.
Yeah.
So you might as well say yes.
They're going to bring back, you know how Xbox you have gamer scores?
Yeah.
They're going to bring back Microsoft scores, except it'll be based on how you behave with the PC.
Oh, mate, I'm going to get negative score.
Yeah. Now you use the PC
They're not
to
gonna let
make
you on the internet.
you use the PC to make an Excel spreadsheet. You get bonus points. Yay, good. Yeah. You use the PC to do something arts and crafty. You get negative points.
You use the PC to look at porn. I thought we told you no more going to honda.com.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We connect to your webcam and still using our PC without wearing a suit. Negative points.
Mate. We're going to spread this all over social media. A picture of you in your underpants. Unless you give us Bitcoin.
Go for it.
And that's Microsoft.
Yeah, go for it. Fine with me.
Yeah. I said the same thing.
If people want to, if people find themselves getting off to me in my underpants, then I suppose it's clear I should start an OnlyFans page.
I was going to say, if they think that's embarrassing, then I need to stop walking down the street in my undies.
Yeah. It's like, well, then.
I'm not bothered. I've got this webpage. And they're like, oh. So this isn't going to work, then you're not going to give us any Bitcoin. No, of course not. But if you want to subscribe, you're more than welcome.
I once got those emails, oh, we've got a video of you, like, doing, wanking over some porn or something on PC with your webcam, and I'd hate to have to share it on your social media page. So I thought, man, I don't go on Facebook anymore. So if anyone goes
go
on,
for it.
Yeah, go for it. I replied by saying, yeah, fine, go for it. By the way, do you have a copy of it? Because I just want to see if my technique's improved or not.
Yeah, I need to check this one out, man.
It's something you can't, in the heat of the moment, you can't really tell.
Can you send me a copy so I can put it on my OnlyFans page?
Yeah.
Because I must have forgot to record that one.
Yeah.
Just in case you got a better version.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Thank you for this. Here's my subscription fees. So you've been gaming much at all, Skazz?
To be honest with you, Ram, maybe it's just me. I'm bitter and old. I don't really enjoy gaming that much anymore because there's always some kind of drama tied with games. I have done something, but I don't know. Just gaming feels really stale, and it's something that I've played before, if not mechanically, then visually. Especially if it's a Ubisoft game. Companies perhaps just get on my tits, and you know what I'm like.
Look, you can't suggest that Ubisoft makes the same game. Look, I remember that game we played where it was in a big open world map where you had to go around, climb things and unlock things, and there'd be missions to do, and they'd show you where they are on the mission, you have to do them, and all the missions are basically the exact same thing. Are you telling me that those Ubisoft games that I'm referring to are somehow all the same?
I'm trying to figure out which one you're on about. Look, is that Assassin's Creed or is that Far Cry?
It's on Assassin's Far Cry Creed.
That's Assassin's Far Creed, is it?
Yeah, Assassin's Far Creed. Assassin's Watch Far Creed.
Assassin's Far Cry. Fucking Creed and Cry, mate.
Yeah. Assassin's Watch Far Cry Battle for Middle Creed.
You see things in emails, don't you? So it is a Creed Cry.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I don't know. Like, it's just weird, sometimes games will really kind of have that fizz. They'll have that click, and I'm like, this is amazing. And other times I'm like, I've played this before, but it just looks different.
Yeah.
Or if I can predict the story within like the first 10 minutes, you better have something decent going on. Otherwise, I'm going to be bored out of my fucking head. And it just seems like that's majority of the bigger games out there. Plus, game studios being shut down left and right, game prices going up, which I understand because, development's expensive. But just, I don't know, it's kind of fucking annoying. Plus, like PC requirements going up and up and up and up and up. I
Yeah.
looked at the Ghost of Tsushima requirements. It makes my PC look like a toy.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Have you done anything, Ram? Are you having fun?
I'm having fun.
Because mine's really short.
Yeah. Well,
That's what she said. That's really short.
Talk about your short stuff, and we'll go on to back on. If you keep talking about your short one, we'll go back onto game.
Well, as you know, you can go check it out at onlyfans.com/Skazzius. You know, it's about a grain of rice, but the game. Sorry. Right. It's not so much a game. Right. You know how I like kind of really, considering how angry I am most of the time, you know how I like really chilled out experiences?
Yeah.
Like a game that shouldn't have that kick, that fizz, that hook, but it does. We call it the virtual tennis kind of effect.
Yeah.
Because Virtual Tennis 2 on the Dreamcast was this. It's a fucking tennis game, but for some reason it was so fun and it had so many like extra little modes and mini games that it was just you couldn't put it down. There was always something different to do in that game. Well, other than like you had to play tennis still, but you know, Eurotruck has the virtual tennis factor.
Yeah.
Because all you're doing is driving from you know one side of Europe to the other, like taking stuff, like
I thought
trying to dodge traffic and.
I thought you were rolling over mostly, or was that just me?
Well, I think that might just be you, mate. I still love that clip. I love it so much.
Mate, that is I've rewatched that games, the second one with you and Zaber. I've rewatched part 2 of that so many times, and I can't help but laugh every single time.
I've got a short of it on my channel, on my YouTube channel that I go back and watch every now and then. It's just so good. But I like games like Eurotruck. It's weird. Just, you know, we're just chilled out. We're just driving across the country. There's nothing really going on other than kind of dodging traffic, watching you flip your truck, getting speeding fines in something that realistically has no right to speed.
Yeah.
I found it's a procedurally generated web driving game called slowroads.io. It's all in your web browser. You load it up, and you've got like a little car that's supposed to be like a Tesla. You know, it's got like a little whirring electric motor kind of sound to it, and you just drive your car just down this road, and as you know, the more you go, it generates more road, and it just goes on and on and on and on and on. No music. You can change the scenery, like you can change it to like nighttime, sunrise, sunset, you know, snowing, that kind of thing. You can do all that. And it just goes on and on forever, and it's just so fun. Like WASD to like drive, shift to speed up. I can't remember what the brake button is because we don't worry about that. Q and E changes like the scenery. So like, oh, is it like a normal day? Is it snowing? You know, that kind of thing. And you just drive. It just counts the miles that you've driven, and that's it.
Oh, cool.
You can change your vehicle from like a car to like a bus. So like you've got like this electric wire bus and an electric wiring motorcycle thing as well. They all handle the same-ish, kind of. It's just fun to see this like big ass bus just piling down a country road or whatever. It's fun. It's chilled out. It's relaxing. The procedural generation is pretty good, to be honest. It looks really, really, really nice. It's got some pretty solid like graphics, and so like you can actually put on like low, medium, high, all that kind of stuff. Occasionally, like so you know, like country roads where you're just like one lane this way, one lane the other way. There's no other like traffic on the road. It's just you. Like, you know, those like thin roads that go along like, you know, cliff sides and all that kind of stuff. It's just that kind of road just being generated to infinity. Sometimes like the hills on the side of the road will kind of generate over the road. You can drive through those. Normally you drive up them, but if they generate onto the road, you just drive clean through them. Sometimes like trees will generate onto the road. Not often. Like you could go a good couple hundred miles before you'll start to see like glitches and stuff like this. But it's so fun, and it shouldn't be.
Can I?
So,
Sorry,
go
go
on.
No, you go on. You finish.
No, I was just going to say, so much so that I've put in 5,162.7 miles since I found it.
What does that equate to, like, in time?
Well, it's also got an auto drive system and cruise control. So when I'm not driving,
the game
I
can
just
play
hit auto
itself.
drive. Yeah, I just sit there and just like because I like to see it generate.
Nice.
And so I'm not gonna lie, man. I was streaming it the other day, and then I fell asleep. I hit auto drive, and then just fell asleep watching it. I just sat there watching it. Like right now, I've got it on right now. I'm watching it right now. It's got like this single lane road, the metal kind of divider to stop me from driving off of a cliff.
Yeah.
Trees, like all these different plants and that on either side of the road. Gorgeous skies. We're driving by a lake. Looks fucking fantastic. It's got little road signs and stuff. So it said like just be careful because there's like rock slides and stuff, and there's gonna be a sharp corner coming up and that. It just looks great.
Well, can I give you, if you like chill games, let me give you a couple of recommendations.
Okay.
First, similar to what you described, Jalopy.
Yeah, I know that one.
Yeah, which you are basically driving this really crappy, like, what's that really crappy Russian car? The
Lada.
Lada, yeah. You're driving something similar to that, and you have to like
based on a Fiat.
Yeah, they took a Fiat and made it worse, which is a real impressive thing to do. You'll drive one of those, and you have to like sort of like pull into petrol stations and fill up, and you have to like repair it, and like
because the more you drive, like it falls apart, don't it? Like bits go wrong, and you have to
like stop at like sort of hotels overnight with your uncle and rent a hotel. It looks graphically, it looks very sort of like 1990s. You know how all indie games are that very blocky sort of I just about learned how to use Blender look. It's got that sort of look to it. Like the car looks okay because that's what they spent all their time doing, but everything else looks a little bit shit. Yeah, but that's quite a nice chill game to play. And I would also recommend Everything, which is
is that the one where you're like rolling everything?
Yeah,
like
you could be everything, like down to like sort of like bacteria, all the way up to like solar systems. You can like sort of switch between like the different layers and work your way up and stuff. That's a really chill game.
I remember a guy I knew. He made a clickbaity video, and it was everything is on Linux. And because they've released a version of it for Linux, and he put it on the thing,
But yeah, if you like chill games, those are two recommendations for me for just chill games that you can just sort of like enjoy. And also, I suppose in the same groove, Flight Simulator is probably quite chill.
Dude, I love Flight Simulator.
Yeah,
that was absolutely great. Oh, there you go. The car's just driven through a girder.
Oh dear.
And again. Just clipped right through it. That was so good.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I love Flight Simulator. I flew a Cessna from Beckles Airport to Denmark.
Yeah. I flew from Denmark. When they had the Top Gun tie-in, so you could fly was it F-22? I think it was. You could fly wherever they fly in Top Gun. And I flew one of those. I tried to fly it from Zaber's nearby airport back to like the nearby airport. And it turns out if you go full pelt, it runs at a full. And I was like, I hadn't quite made it to Heathrow. And all of a sudden I was like, I just got to say, it's basically saying to me full level critical or whatever it says. And it's a bit more worrying when you get the little, when you're driving your car and you get the little like full refill now signal come up. Yeah. It's not so worrying. In a plane, it's a bit more worrying. And I was like, will I make it? I'll probably make it. Otherwise, I'm not going to make it. So it's like, okay, I need to land. So I managed to find a nearby airport, sent a message, can I land here, please? Sent the little signal in the interface.
Yeah.
I got permission to land, started flying down to land, and I was sort of lining myself up for the runway, just sort of running on fumes. and I'm literally about to make it to the one-way, and then I ran out of fuel. I was like,
I love it if they just said no on the radio.
Can I glide this in, do you think? And as we're going down, I'm sort of gliding as best I can, not too
You're
much
pulling
thrust.
a Gimli glider on it.
Like, I want to put the gear down at the very last minute to stop, not have too much drag, and I'm being very cautious of the flaps down that give me the most lift, and I just watch this gradually as the runway gets, as my view is getting lower than the runway, quicker and quicker and quicker, and I end up crashing in a forest about 100 yards from the runway.
Mate, I'd have paid to have seen that. I wish you'd have streamed that.
I wish I had.
So good.
I was like, oh, I could have made that, and I didn't.
I could have made it, but I didn't.
This will be my fault for using the afterburn the whole way across the channel.
I figured that was what you were doing.
Well, I thought it's not that far.
It's not that far as it guzzles fuel.
You'd think a fighter jet would be able to achieve that distance, wouldn't you? I mean, it's not like I'm going on a bombing run to like the Death Star. I'm just going from Denmark. Yeah,
but that's why they have bases in the country next over from where they're going to bomb.
But I was country next over. I was in Denmark and going to the UK. They're not that far apart.
It's a big bloody ocean. Why didn't you go? Like, why didn't you fly from Germany? You might have had enough fuel.
I might have, yeah. Yeah, so that was a bit of an embarrassment. But it was fun nonetheless. And I love just playing the big jets. So I like playing I love flying around my Airbus.
Would you just sit there, like, flick the autopilot on and just...
Yeah, I do what I'm sure real life pilots do. So I flick the autopilot and go watch something on Netflix and come back when I get back to that.
I have this vision. Yeah, Captain, we need to land. Yeah, hang on, just one more episode. But we've run out of fuel. Oh, not again.
I'd be the captain who gets up to leave the cockpit, and the doors, they self-lock, don't they?
Yeah.
But like a Yale lock. Just walk out the door going, here you go, clunk, going, oh, shit.
Uh-oh.
Oh, shit. Oh, I forgot my keys. Where's lockpicking a lawyer when you need him?
Whoops.
This shit. But it's like
I'd love to see like the investigation report on that crash.
Can you just imagine the view for the passengers? All he sees the captain sort of like banging in the door, trying to get back in because he's locked himself out.
Is this like Nicktopia, but we've got Ram Airlines?
Yeah, Nicktopia Airlines.
Stay the fuck away from there.
We promise we'll get you somewhere near the airport. We don't promise.
Near your
we
destination.
don't promise in how many pieces.
Bargain.
I tried to land. I want to sort of like do like
that's not a good way to go there. I tried to land.
Look. Whatever happens, when it comes to aircraft, you're always going to land at some point. You can't deny that's true. At some point, you're going to land.
Well, I mean, landing has a pretty solid definition.
It means the aircraft touches the ground at some point.
I'll give you that one, yeah.
Sometimes your landing is, as they believe they term it, becomes an uncontrolled descent into terrain. as I believe they term it. But I did try and land when Zay was next coming over. 3 years ago, I tried I'll do like a door-to-door service. So I took off nearby the airport. I tried to land down your road.
Oh mate, no. I can't even park a car down my road. You crazy bastard.
Apparently your road's not big enough to fit an Airbus down it. And so
you can barely fit a minibus down there.
But I endeavoured, and I did, and as you're driving over, when it starts, and you hear the ground train going, pull up, pull up, terrain, pull up. It's like, oh, perhaps I can't quite make this. I also flew...
I just imagine you taxiing it down the road.
Because one thing I love about flight simulators is how that if you leave it on default, it just links up to the current like time and daytime and stuff. So whether it's at the moment, time is what it is. And I remember flying one evening from like I must have been Beccles as well, some aerodrome. Flying from there to I just flew like the route from there. Actually, because I started in the air and I started at Lowestoft. In the air, I flew to my friend's farm, and I just followed my route because obviously it has all that generated terrain. So you can just look out the window. I just followed the road all the way to the friend's farm as if I was how I would drive it to follow the road trip. Got to the farm. And I was able to land. He's got like a farm track. I was able to land the farm track and then taxi around his farmyard. That was
an
really...
Airbus.
No, this is in a Cessna.
I was going to say, Jesus Christ,
not an Airbus.
I was going to say, how the fuck did you take off in an Airbus from Beccles Airport?
Lots of afterburner. They don't have afterburners. You know those JTOs they have?
You stuck a couple of those.
I wonder how many JTOs you would need to take off from Airbus, from Beccles Air theme, Rob.
I'm going to say that's not going to happen.
Oh, there's got to be. I can't do the maths because the trouble with my new computer, my new desk, is the desk cost me £50. So think how stable that is. So anything I touch in it just vibrates everything. So I'm not going to touch it. But I'll see if I can somehow do the maths to how much thrust you would need to take off an Airbus. Because there's going to be a calculator online to calculate it, I'm sure.
Big.
Yeah, how much thrust I would need. I wonder how much acceleration I would need. How much acceleration do you need? How many G's would I have to pull to get that Airbus up?
Dead.
Welcome to Nictopia Airlines. Please make sure you have fastened your seatbelts, but don't worry if you haven't. Don't worry if you haven't, because when we get going, you ain't leaving your seat. The G-force to the rest. Please make sure you don't have your hands above the seats because they will get broken.
Chances are you probably will leave your seat on landing.
My takeoffs is I don't know if you've ever watched The Expanse. There's a scene in The Expanse where they have a drive that basically has constant acceleration, and it's like several factors of G. And the guy who invents it's called the Epstein drive because he's after his name. He invents it, and when he was developing it, he buys his cheap second-hand spaceship to practice on. The spaceship the person who brought forward was Chinese, so all the voice controls in Chinese. So he gets into it, he's practicing it, he sets off going with it, and he gets thrown back into his chair from the G-forces, and he's watching it start to accelerate as it accelerates faster, and obviously pushes more G-forces as it accelerates faster. And he tries to switch it off, but the G-forces have got so high so quick, he can't reach the button because he's being held back. And this horrific scene as he gradually has he tries to reach forward and his arm just gets thrown up behind him and just bent over backwards, stabbed by the acceleration. And he tries to use voice controls, but it's in Chinese, so he can't use the voice controls. He doesn't speak Chinese. And he's just stuck there and basically eventually gets killed by the acceleration as he gets basically crushed by the G-forces. And he dies basically, but he downloaded. I think in the books he downloaded the patents before the plans before he left, so his wife was able to patent it for him and sell it. And everybody got into space travel. But apparently in the books, you can still see him jetting off into the distance somewhere because he's just accelerating constantly. And he's just going. Yeah. No one can stop it. That's basically that scene. If you vision that from The Expanse, I'll put a link in the show notes. If you see that scene in The Expanse, that's basically how Nictopia Airlines launches.
Lethal.
Look, it's not lethal if you have a strong, stout physique. Elderly people, children though should be okay because they're their bones are quite flexible, so they'll heal.
They don't tend to heal after
This is your captain speaking. Students, please make sure you have stowed your trays now, because we're about to take off. And seriously, if anyone's got anything loose, I'd strongly advise you to make sure it's secure, because we're about to take off, and this is going to be a fast one.
Stay away from the cutlery cupboard.
As the full power goes and we're accelerating away, the pilots realise they've been pinned to their chairs and can't reach the control to pull up. And the plane just drives straight forward into the trees and just drives halfway across Beccles.
Fireball in Beccles Airport.
Causing several £100 worth of improvements.
Several £100 worth of improvements.
And fly full CSC. So when is it Civil Aviation Authority in the UK? I think it is. When they get involved, it's like, yeah, it turns out strapping 1,000 JTOs to your aircraft is not a good idea.
Minor explosion.
Yeah, I'm sure there must be a calculator. I'll try and find. It's got to be a calculator that works this out. Exciting times. I need to play. I'm going to play Flight Simulator again.
Get it done, son.
I will do. I'll start loading up, start flying around, just chilling. But yeah, that's my chill game recommendations for you. I actually need to bring up the sort of chat because I haven't actually got chat open.
Okay, chill game where you murder half of Beckles.
No chat.
Fantastic.
Cool.
That's exactly how I like it to be.
Cool. One thing I can discuss, which I haven't played a game because we're moving PCs around. And
you have played a game. It's called Musical PCs.
yeah. The game I've been playing is figuring out why your file server doesn't work.
That sounds excellent. So basically you were relying on me to play a game, silly bastard.
No, I have got something else. I planned for this. So, at the beginning of last month, I listened to an audiobook while I've been commuting back and forth.
Yeah.
I listened through the Free Body Problem audiobook. And Netflix have now put a TV series out called The Free Body Problem based on the audiobook. So I've watched that as well. I finished watching it last night. So I thought I'd discuss the book v TV series. And what I think of. So, Free Body Problem. So let's talk the book first. So, spoilers alert. I will try and be sort of cautious, but I will have to discuss certain points, to get this across. So the book took a while to get into. It is a very... Have you read the book at all? Listened to the audiobook at all?
No, I have not.
No. Okay. So the book is a very wordy book. It is where there's a lot of scientific sort of principles being explained, and the author will spend a lot of time going through all the details of how it works. And his characters do there's a lot of exposition from the characters. They'll spend a lot of time explaining everything. And it does feel, and which means you do end up in situations where you have big monologues from characters basically. Or if they are monologuing, they only get interrupted by someone going, but how can that be? How can that be? It's just sort of it's a bit like what I call the Stephen King effect. Stephen King has these bit sections of book where he spends an awful lot of time describing one thing.
Oh, this is the Chinese series, isn't
yes,
it?
It is.
That we were
Chinese
chatting
books,
about last time we went out, because I was talking about the Dark
Forest, which is one of the sequel, but I think it's the third book in the series.
Sure.
So, and he is actually the one who I'm pretty sure he's the one who came up with the Dark Forest term. I think the Dark Forest idea is named after him. The Dark Forest theory, for anyone who's listening, is the idea is, imagine you are in a dark forest. Where you are, you're quite comfortable. You're safe. You're okay. You can't. You're not hungry. You're not thirsty. You're all right. But you can't see anything around you because it's dark and it's night. But you have got a torch. Now, possibility, you don't know if there's anybody else in that forest with you. And what you don't, secondly, if you on the basis that there might be people in the forest with you, then you don't know if they're nice people or nasty people. You don't know if they're going to see you, if they're going to come kill you, or they're going to help you. However, as we all know, when you put a light on, that can be seen from miles around. In the forest, it'll be seen from a long distance away because it will refract through. People will be able to work out where you are if you put your light on. So the question is, if you've got a torch, do you turn your torch on? I think most people go, if you're risk avert, most people I think will say, if I turn my torch on and there's no one else around, fine. If you turn your torch on and someone nearby is friendly, that's okay too. But if you turn your torch on and someone nearby isn't friendly, they know exactly where you are, and they'll be able to see where you are, and they'll be able to, because you've got your now from a light, they'll be able to come up to you and basically kill you. And you won't know until right close to you that they're there, because You can't see them get close to you. But as we know, you can see light from a long way away, but the person with the light can't see you till you get quite close. So the question is, do you turn your torch on? And I think unless you have a death wish, you probably would say no. That's the sensible thing to do. Why take the risk?
Challenge accepted.
Why take the risk of alerting to someone hostile to your presence by turning the light on? And that's basically the Dark Forest theory. And it's basically the idea that we, as a species, perhaps shouldn't be advertising where we are. And like saying, hey, we're over here, in case there are alien species out there who can detect us.
Just as a note, do you think that, because this is written by a Chinese author, do you think he's got ideas from his own government?
Probably. Well,
he's just saying aliens.
Yeah. Well, I was listening to it because the whole start of the book is set in the Cultural Revolution, and because listening to the book, it's read by an English voice actor, the version I've been listening to. Now, here's the thing: when someone pronounces a Chinese name, it's very hard to not sound. It does sound like you're trying to pull it does almost sound like you're being slightly racist when you say it, because you seem to put on a little bit of an accent when you say it. Because I know it sounds weird, but it's like, because one of the main characters is called Yeah, and you can't help put a slight Chinese accent on whenever you pronounce it, which is also the correct way to pronounce I think it's the correct way to pronounce the name. But it's like, yeah, you must do this. It's like, okay. Okay.
Well, at least they didn't do what most localizers do and just go like, fuck,
Bob.
We don't know how to do that. His name's Gavin.
Yeah. The translation apparently is very faithful to the original.
Sure.
Apparently, it's very faithful.
It's not like a current day Twitter localization or like back in the 90s localization where someone like just made shit up.
Yeah, basically not. So the book starts, and so is the TV series, in the Cultural Revolution, and you follow this character called Yeah. And she is the daughter of a physicist, her father's physicist, who basically, at the start of the book, gets killed by, he saw upon public display and killed because he dares teach things like the Big Bang Theory and stuff like that, and he dared teach like sort of special relativity, which goes against what the party line is on how the science of the universe works.
Yeah, I was then going to say like he got killed for wearing glasses, but I remembered that was Cambodia.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he doesn't get killed for wearing glasses, but he does wear glasses. But he doesn't get killed for wearing glasses. In the book, so just to get an idea in the book, this like first section takes about 40 minutes of the book, audio book, to go through. It's quite long. On the Netflix version, it's done about 2 minutes. Yeah, so they've really cut it down a lot. So basically, her father gets killed. She sees it. She sort of cries out. She's still quite young at this point. She sees her mother denounce him before she's fearing her own life, so she just denounces him to protect her own life, and her sister does as well. And basically the whole sort of flashback to Yelena is she basically just feels humanity is absolutely doomed. We are not we can't be trusted with ourselves. Mm-hmm. And in the book spends a lot of time basically going through her motivation of how much she just almost despises humanity in a way. She just feels that we're not trustworthy. The sort of like second part of the book is set at the time it was 2012, but also that was modern times at the time. And a load of scientists are killing themselves. No one really knows why. There's an international organisation who's investigating it, trying to work out what's happening. But scientists just killing themselves for no real reason. And they enlist the help of a neuroscientist who's researching nanomaterials. And to like try, because they found that all these scientists have a link to an organisation called the ETO. And they think that maybe they've got something to do with all the deaths. And what sort of it revealed fairly early on, sort of like about quarter way for the book, what's going on is because this guy speaks to some of the other scientists who works at a particle accelerator, and basically he says physics has gone wrong. We are doing our experiments on the particle accelerator, and everything we do, the results we're expecting, we're getting results that don't make sense. They don't fit with any theory, don't fit with anything that we already planned. They don't make sense. So basically, all that we've established as the laws of physics have just been destroyed. We don't.
Are we talking real physics or Chinese physics at this point?
Real physics. Okay. So it's like nothing makes sense. No, not party physics. Real physics. Nothing makes sense. And it's not just us, it's all the experiments were just saying everything that was making sense doesn't make sense anymore. And no one can explain it. Why? And that's one of the things why the science of kills, because basically all of a sudden nothing makes sense. There's other weird things going on, like he starts seeing, here's this weird thing where if he takes a photo, he's a photographer as a hobby, and like film camera photographer as a hobby.
Yeah.
And whenever he takes a photo, develops it, written across the photo is a countdown.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen the advertisements for this.
Yeah, he sees a countdown, and it goes down consistently, and it goes down like if he waits like 5 minutes to takes a photo, it's down by 5 minutes. It's a consistent countdown, but only when he takes a photo. If his wife takes the photo, if his son takes the photo, it doesn't appear. Only when he takes the photo. So he's like freaked out. And he borrows like other cameras. Then again, it's a whole book where he basically borrows like someone else's camera and takes photo of that camera, and he gets the same result. Mm-hmm. He's trying just to figure it out. And it's basically, and it's a countdown to something. He doesn't know what it is, but he's basically suggested that he should just, what he's working on, he should stop. And
the correct order from McDonald's arrives.
So he does stop what he's doing, and the countdown disappears. It's a bit mystery. And I won't go through. I could go through the whole book, but basically, it comes to establish that what has happened is there's also a VR game in it called the Free Body game, right? Which is not as exciting as you think, but it's basically like they're on like this sort of. It's like they're sort of like it sort of follows the society as it gradually develops like science and explanations for why there's like this weird world where it can have like a stable time where everybody's like quite comfortable, then it goes through a chaotic era where like the whole world just burns up, and then it goes through a really cold era where it's freezing temperature, everybody freezes to death. And it follows this. Again, this takes a quite significant chunk of the book. This does. And gradually over time, I won't go into these what caused it, but it all comes down to basically some people at some point made contact with an alien species and have managed to establish communication. And those aliens have found way, despite the fact they have to obey the law of physics, they can't get here faster than light. But so it's going to take them hundreds of years to get to us. But they have found a way to get stuff to us quicker to interfere with what we're doing. That's basically sort of the big sort of twist of the book. So that's the book. Book is very wordy. So the audiobook's about 16 hours long, which is quite longish for an audio. Most books tend to be about sort of like 12 hours long on average. For an average size, but this is about 16 hours long, so it's quite long. It's very wordy. It spends an awful lot of time developing the characters, but does spend an awful lot of time on exposition and so forth. And I would say that the majority of like the air quotes action of the book doesn't happen to like the last 2 to 3 hours of the audiobook. So about the last quarter of the actual book will be. The TV series is basically exact. So I was watching the TV series, and it's an 8-episode series. And I thought 8 episodes to get through the whole book, probably about right, book to TV adaptation. That sounds about right. Boy, was I shocked that they've completely reordered how the book goes, to the point that one of the big sort of twists of the book that doesn't happen to about 2/3 of the way through in the book happens at the end of the first episode.
Oh.
Yeah, they literally reveal like there's like this weird base called Red Coast. And it's not made clear it's very strange because it's not made clear exactly what Red Coast is doing until about 2/3 of the way through the book. And that's when you find out what's happened. And it's like I was watching the first episode, and it's like, my goodness, so much has happened in the first episode that's like half the book's done. The VR game, that again is a good significant chunk of the book. I'd say at least more than halfway through is done in 3 episodes. All the VR stuff is done. And basically the entire book is completed in the first 5 episodes. They've literally fit the whole book into 5 episodes. They have cut a lot of stuff out, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
They have basically a lot of what I think they have there's something they have sort of tightened up. So one of the characters in the book, the reason he sort of like gets involved and is investigating something is because one of the scientists he knew was one who killed themselves, but he met them off. They die off screen as well in the book. They died. You don't meet them in the book at all. They died before the books all like got going. You just find out, oh, they've killed themselves.
Yeah.
In the TV series, they bring that character. They actually made a character who gets killed who gets quite significant way through the series, then gets killed, and that's what sort of spurs the sort of scientists on.
Right.
They do also get a lot of the exposition because that is hard to translate to you don't want to watch half an hour of somebody doing a monologue of science, really. But the trouble is, there's so much they cut out that basically means unless you read the book, it's completely unexplained. Yeah. So there's a section where, in the book, there's a bit where in the free body game, this group of scientists decide to basically make a human computer. They do this by teaching soldiers how to be logic gates. And there's a section in the book where they basically explain how logic gates work by using soldiers. Okay, you two are the input, you're the output. If they do, and then basically he talks about how to make an AND gate and OR gate and all sorts of stuff like this. And they basically say, okay, we're going to use this to basically explain how they basically explain the fundamentals of how our computer works at its base level, and then so we can use this to make a full-size human computer, which is what they do. They literally have thousands of people, and they make something like 300,000 soldiers make a computer to basically perform calculations to work out what's going on. In the TV series, they turn up, and the people already stood there ready to be the computer. And there is no explanation for what they're doing. Literally, always one character says, oh, they're working in binary, like a computer. And that is the explanation of what they're doing.
So they kind of glance over, cursory glance, they're looking at what they're doing, and they figure out that it's basically a human computer. They just kind of, in passing, just mention it. Yeah,
they go up to like sort of a balcony where the sort of like leader is, and they can see all the soldiers laid out. And they're laid in the book, they're laid out like a circuit board to represent the part like the process and stuff. They're not just like rows. And you see them all laid out, and as they sort of start, the two characters don't really know what they're doing, so they start working, and they say, oh, they're working in bio, not a computer. So it's like, that's the explanation there's no explanation of how this is working. So the book has a whole explanation of how this works. They got rid of all that. They literally see the result. Which is a little bit like, okay, you cut a large chunk. There's another bit later on where it's explained. So in the book, there's a big section explain how they are going to limit humanity by using physics and using clever things. They basically, this alien is very technologically advanced. Oh, incidentally, they're also renamed. They are known as the Trisolarans in the book. They're known as the Santi. I think those are called Santi in the book at some points, but they're only known as the Santi in the TV series because obviously Trisolarans perhaps too many syllables on to pronounce.
Right.
And in the book there's a big explanation as to how the Trisolarans basically interfere with human physics. And they go through little detail how they do it, how they produce it. They show their failures, they show their successes, and it shows you how they iterate it and get it done. In the series, that all happens off screen, and you literally encounter like ones like they found a way to like send information to Earth, and that information like sort of appear on TVs and stuff, and this person appear on TVs, and they say, "Here's what we did." They show you it, and they show it being worked on with no explanation as to what they're doing.
Right.
So again, if you haven't read the book, you have fuck all idea how this happened.
Is this a show by Netflix for Netflix?
It is it's a Netflix that bought the rights to basically make the show. It is done by who made it? I have a feeling it's done by the Game of Thrones people, I think, because there's a lot of Game of Thrones actors appear in this. Oh, because that's the other thing is they moved the location. So the book is set all in China. Occasionally goes to a couple of other countries, but the majority is set in China. The TV series, all the modern day stuff, is mostly set in London. Yeah, and one of the characters in the book, which I kind of understand when they did this, they basically split like one character into about 4 or 5 different people in the TV series.
Usually they do that the other way.
Yeah, normally it's the other way, but I think because this character, because a lot of what goes on with this character is basically self-monologued inside his head. You know, I've always said the trouble with Pratchett adaptations TV is that a lot of what happens in Pratchett is just written down, and that doesn't translate to TV. Unless you're someone that's reading it out loud, doesn't translate. So a lot of the in jokes and stuff don't appear, or you miss a load of stuff when it gets to TV adaptations because it's written down. Similar sort of problem in that he thinks of stuff through in his head, so he needs other characters there to basically talk to basically give the exposition out, and they split into like multiple characters.
Right.
So from what I can understand, because after episode 5, it's an 8-episode series, so I watched the last 3 episodes, and from what I understand, those are basically part way through the next book. So this series basically does a book and a half. From what I've not done the next book, so I don't know how that all tallies in. They've literally got.
Are they going to? Is there anything to say they're going to do more?
I'm guessing I'm guessing, given what I suspect, that what they're doing is knowing what Netflix is like when it comes to series. They could say, "We need one more series, and we've completed it." They might be able to get one. Whereas there's 5 more series to get to it. There'll be a problem. So the series, I can understand some of the changes. I can understand why they did it. They did it to fix all the exposition of the book. Trouble is, they have tried to cram too much too short. And I felt they could have expanded. They've cut the faff when needed. They've cut too much. So instead of cutting the fat off, they've cut some of the meat off as well. And I think that's the problem they've made. The mistake they've made, they've gone too in depth, which I'm not so keen on. Now, apparently, there's also another Free-Body TV series made by Tencent in China, and it's a Chinese series. And apparently, that has the opposite problem. That series is 30 episodes long for the first book.
Yeah, it's a full series then.
Yeah, and apparently, so the general consensus is the Netflix one went too far by cutting too much out and rejigged. And so most people see the other thing they rejigged are probably about right. They went too far. The tendency is apparently the opposite. It's put too much in and it's basically stretched out. And you could apparently it's a director's cut version. It's cut it down to 26 episodes.
Right.
So I want to see if I can find
26 30-minute episodes or
I don't know. I haven't.
What's Netflix? Is that 8?
About an hour. You know, Netflix stuff. You know, streaming services. They're always they vary, don't they? So you have to fit an actual time slot. So I want to try and find out how to watch the Tencent series. I'm going to try because there's apparently a dubbed version out there. I'm going to try and watch that one to see how it compares, see how close it is to books. Apparently, it is close to the books. Because the trouble is, one of the main characters, who's the one who basically, all intents and quotes, dooms humanity, there's no real sort of explanation given this Netflix series as to why she does it. But in the book, it's very detailed explained why she does it. It goes through, there's a lot of build up as to why she makes the decisions she does. Whereas in the series, it doesn't really do that. Right. And I think that's part of the problem. Is a lot of the character motivations have been just cut out. So I think people, from what I said, people who've watched it and not read the books have quite liked the series.
As is often the case.
Yeah. But people who've written the books don't like it. Some people, most people in general, they don't mind the series. They just don't particularly think the Chinese version is better. I mean, I've read the book. I didn't hate the TV series. I just felt a bit disappointed they cut a lot of stuff out. I still think I also think, I mean, some of the sort of like effects in it are really nice. Some of the special effects. There's a thing that happens in the fifth episode, which is, again, slightly ruined from the book. They sort of like mess it up a little bit, but in the TV series, it looks really spectacular. But they sort of over dramatized it a little bit. There's also they've put a lot more. There's very little heart in the book in terms of like sort of like personal relationship drama in the book. They've added some into the TV series, which you don't. There seems to be a thing where people like think that in any adaptation, if there's no romance in the adaptation, you have to put it into a series because there's no romance and no one wants to watch it. It's like, no, you don't need to. Not everybody's interested in that. Get that. But it happens all the time, like films, they say a whole love interest. Like, why is there a love interest? You don't need a love interest in this. Oh, well, then the main character like hasn't got any trauma. They might just like the person. They don't need a love interest. And they add stuff of that into the Netflix series, which wasn't in the books. And there is really nothing in the books about that. There is some sort of like romances, because again, one of the main characters, one of her motivations for what she does is her love interest gets killed. But it's very like told like off books. There's not a lot of sort of scenes with him, just sort of like written about, oh, she developed a relationship with this person. It's very sort of off hands, as it were. Whereas they sort of build up a lot more, which with no real reason. So yeah, Nemesis isn't terrible by any shape. It's not very faithful to the book. I preferred the book telling of the story to the series. Although I've heard that the books sort of fall off after the first one. The second one, the third one apparently aren't anywhere as good as the first one. And I think the problem issue is that in the first one, he creates a threat that basically is, for all intents and purposes, omnipotent. And it's like, well, how on earth can we possibly defeat it? And it's like he roams himself into the corner. It's like, okay, it's great to create like a really sort of bad threat you're going to fight against, but the threat's got to have weaknesses that you can exploit, or like, they've got to have limitations. And if they ain't got limitations, it's like, well, anything you come up with is either going to be a little bit bullshit, or you're going to have to come up with some sort of like applied random shit, some strange science that somehow bypasses it. Because that's the only way you've run yourself into a corner. And the threat he basically makes up does that. It's a thing that basically for all intents and purposes, can see everything that's going on, knows everything we're doing. It's a full on spiders, and it's basically for window that you can't beat this. Where they know everything, and they can like make people see things, they can like mess things up, they can do all this sort of stuff. It's like, well, how the fuck are you going to defeat that? And the explanation of how they're going to defeat it doesn't hold true, because like, well, if they can like make people see whatever they want to see, the people who are defeated, they just make them see what they want to see and kill, or like drive them mad and kill them. They can do all that.
Yeah.
So it's I also think they actually overpower them in the TV series. Ironically, they make them more powerful in the TV series. There's like a bit where one of the scientists is told to go look up at the sky with this like special glasses, and you'll see the universe wink at you. And he does, and the universe seems to like flash at him, but only he sees it. He can see it, no one else can. But he doesn't realise no one else saw it. In a TV series, every fucker sees it. And they make it big, but it just doesn't work. It feels like the person, they sort of like ran with the sort, you can tell people who wrote it haven't got a scientific background. They've just gone from what was in the books and sort of ran with it a bit. Whereas the guy, he has got some nonsense in it. There is some sort of like nonsense in it, but at least he tried to keep somewhat plausible.
Yeah.
Just like High Fast, and the book sort of, and the TV series sort of dumps that, goes more. TV series starts leaning more Star Trek than Expanse, whereas the book's more Expanse. If you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but as I said, the series isn't bad. It just isn't as good as the book, and yeah, I won't say I was disappointed with it. I just didn't enjoy as much as the book did. So,
it's got a reverse Dragon Ball problem, or a simpler example, I guess, would be Ready Player One. The people who like the film don't really like the book, and the people who like the book don't like the film.
Yeah,
because they're just completely different.
They are completely.
You bastardize the film or you bastardize the book to fit it into a film, but because you've done all this bollocks, it doesn't really hold.
I would say actually it's probably a pretty good analogy in that the film takes the ideas of the book and sort of like creates its own sort of thing around it. They're sort of like hitting the same sort of story beats. Yeah. So I read the book. I didn't mind the book. I also enjoyed the film. In fact, I've watched it several times. I quite like the film, but it's very much in the category of something you don't have to think too much about to watch. A bit like it's a bit like a Jurassic Park, a bit like any Steven Spielberg film, like a Jurassic Park film. Like you just throw it on just to watch it. You're not really worried about. Yeah. You can always have it on when you're doing something else.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't mind the film. The book was okay. I did feel that there were points in the book where it felt like he just copy and pasted a Wikipedia page of 80 TV series.
Yeah,
but just to make it sound like, he read all these. Like, you don't need to list every single thing off their Wikipedia page for it. You can just sort of like pick and choose. But the book was okay. I didn't mind the book. I actually quite enjoyed it, but I actually read it in one day, that book.
Yeah.
It's a short book. It's not very fun, it's worth a read. But you wouldn't read the free body point. You could probably read the body point one day if you went through. But I said, so I'm going to listen to the next book in the series and see how that tallies in. But I've been told it's not as good as the first one, so we'll see.
We'll see.
And
then we'll wait for Netflix to bastardize that as well.
Yeah. Well, I want to see if I can find the Tencent version as well, if I can find a way to watch that online. Apparently, some of the episodes are on their YouTube channel, apparently. But I thought...
Yeah, probably.
But I haven't sort of dug into that enough to find out where the YouTube channel is. But because apparently they've got some dubbed versions on there as well. So I want to sort of watch that and see how that goes, and so it goes. But yeah, that's all Free Body Porn, and we'll see what they do next. Hopefully, I'd like to see it get its. I'd like to see it get its another series to finish it off. I'd like to see him do that.
Yeah,
so.
Netflix has a knack with this. They either go really hard one way and it's great, or it just completely falls apart. They never seem to manage to get it right in the middle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's never an average. Well, I actually argue this one's sort of like in the middle. I'd argue, in that it's not the greatest adaptations, but it's not terrible either. It's, for all intents and purposes, they have tried to keep it to the books, but they have definitely. And I can understand some decisions they've made with regards to changes. I understand why they've done it. I get why they've done it. And I don't disagree with all the changes they've made. I just don't disagree with all the ones they've done. I feel they've gone a bit too far.
Do you think in some cases this is like you've made all these changes to make it for everyone, but it's one of those things where this is a series that isn't for everyone?
A bit like The Expanse. The Expanse is very hard sci-fi, and it sticks to the books very tight. From what I understand, I've not read the books. Apparently, it's quite close to the books. There obviously are changes. And it doesn't shy away from the harder elements of science fiction. It doesn't shy away from them.
But, do you get what I mean, though? Because these days, everything has to be made for everyone.
Well, this is all I'm getting to. The Expanse is more like where they've written to the books and stuff. This feels like they have, dare I say it, they have. They've dumbed it down. They've dumbed it down. Yeah. So but then at the same time, if they didn't do that, would they get a second season? Probably not. Would it even get made? Probably not. Because unfortunately...
But then I'm one of these people that feels though that not everything has to be made into a TV series.
No.
You know? I understand, hey, you found an IP that you can buy reasonably cheap and turn it into a TV show. But not everything has to be made into a TV show.
No.
And I would argue that with, like, say, Pratchett, for example. Pratchett doesn't need to have a TV show.
No.
But they do it anyway. They do it badly.
I'd say most of the adaptations of Pratchett have been... They lose...
Okay.
They're okay. We watch Hogfather every year. I liked Hogfather. I like Going Postal, actually. I thought they got the actor to play Voicemon. Was it Voicemon?
Moist von Lipvig.
I think they got a good guy to play.
I couldn't stand Going Postal.
Did he really not?
I couldn't stand it. That was one of my favorite Pratchett books at the time. So I was super psyched for it to be turned into a show, and it's not good.
No,
it's not good at all.
I do sort of like I felt about Going Postal is that Going Postal felt like it ended slightly. Postal did feel like had some like. Both Hogfather and Go Postal felt like there was like sort of bits just left at the end that a bit tacked on. Hogfather, the bit I know it's in the book. The bit at the end where they have the like save the Hogfather from those wolves and stuff. That felt very tacked on in the TV series because also I've not read the book, but I've seen TV series. I always felt that felt like someone just saw you like slapped it on the end, had a little bit of jeopardy. And I assume it was done better in the book to explain it, because it feels like the story's coming to a close, and then oh no, we've got this other 20 minutes to go through yet. But I think they're probably better done in the book form. like I said, I think Pratchett is hard to adapt, but I think they've done I think that the people who have adapted have tried their best in most cases. I think they made an effort to at least adapt it, but Pratchett, I don't think lends itself as well to TV adaptation.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't necessarily think that everything needs to be given a TV show.
No. Having said that, I enjoy Hogfather, and so we watch it every year.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Hogfather and Die Hard.
I've wanted to watch Die Hard.
Sorry?
Can't remember the book that that's based on, but
It is based on a book.
Yeah,
Die Hard is
title.
technically a sequel. Did you know that?
Pass.
So, Die Hard was a sequel to another book that had the same character in it, and that character was played in like there was a 1950s film that was adapted.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah.
And the character was played by one of those old sort of like singer who went to be an actor, like Bing Crosby, one of those sort of people basically played it. And he had a contractual stipulation that if they adapted the next book, he had first dibs to be the main character again.
Yeah.
And they had to, apparently they had to, when they were going to adapt Die Hard into a film, they had to go to him when he was like in his 80s and say, "Do you want to be the main character again?" They were obliged to offer the role to him first by the contract. Strange enough, he turned it down.
No.
Yeah. But yeah, they apparently did have to do that. So I said I would Google it, but you'll hit that all go through this microphone. I'll try and find a link for the show.
That's all right, mate, because all you can hear is people in the background of my recording, so
yeah,
a few keystrokes ain't going to matter.
Yeah, but if vibrate, you don't see how much this cheap desk vibrates the microphone. So I'll have a look, see if I can find that information for the show notes.
Sure.
Because I know it's rough. I know I'm sure I've got something slightly wrong on there, but I know it's.
I don't actually remember even what the book's called.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you, but we'll find it.
Good
but there we are. Awesome then. Okay then. Well, unless anything else from yourself, Skazz.
That's pretty much everything, Gov.
There we go. So I'll just say thank you to everybody who's joined us this evening. If you've enjoyed this, then by all means check out our next podcast on the 23rd of May, which is in 2 weeks' time. You can see it here on youtube.com/roundnerds or twitch.tv/roundnerds. Check out our games night, which will be on the 22nd of May, around 20:30. Oh, podcast at 6:30-ish. Games night's at 20:30 GMT plus 1. Check it out on twitch.tv/roundnerds. So check those out. Come give us a look, and thank you very much for see everybody, and we look forward to seeing you in a fortnight. So goodbye, everybody.
Take it easy, guys.